I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah.
She was tiny last year.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Go on
To
in.
your new home,
Go
Monica.
on in. Hello. That's it. You're the first one.
Hey,
That's it.
there you go.
Yes. Come on then. Just a little bit. Two. Okay. Right. Okay.
Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. It's Mary Magdalene. Okay. Welcome to your new home, Magdalene. That's it. Very good. Frisky. Right.
Oh, and you got the rolls
Chain.
on.
Chain. Yeah, come on. Chain. Go to your new home.
Go on, Jay.
Let's go. Go, go, go. That's better.
Right then, so after 2 years it's finally time to make this pond a little bit bigger. As you can see, we've got a little bit of extra space down here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit wider, and I'm also going to make it a little bit higher, maybe just another 200mm higher all the way around. I won't be using this moulding anymore. I'll be taking that moulding out, making the framework bigger, and then I'll be using a pond liner. So hopefully it'll be a couple of 1,000 litres, so it'll give these little kois a little bit more room to grow into. We won't be getting any more fish, we're happy with the amount we've got. We just want to make it a little bit bigger for them, that's all. And also something for them to grow into, plus it's easier to keep the water decent quality. Not that we have a problem with it anyway. And as you can see down here, I've bought some more sleepers this morning to help make it a bit bigger. And also we've got a nice pond liner. It's heavy duty PVC. It's 4.5 meters by 4 meters. I gave the guy in the shop the measurements that the pond's gonna be, and he says that will be big enough, so I hope so, because it cost a fortune. So there we are. That is the plan. As you can see, there's a metal pole here. I've got an angle grinder. I'm going to cut that off shortly, and then I'm going to start dismantling this pond, and I'm going to take the moulding out, and I'm going to sit the moulding somewhere on the deck in here, and that's where the fish are going to be, still in the same environment but in a different place, while I get this structure up and running. The framework will be up tomorrow, and the liner in and the water in, but I've ordered a new filter off eBay, which probably a few days before that comes, and then I'll need to put some more deck board around the edging, so it's probably going to be next weekend before the fish are back in the new home, but let's see how it goes. See you later.
And we put them in this container for now. Hello babies. Hello, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're just making your house a bit bigger. Okay, so we scoop them out from the pond and put them in here. So they are a bit distressed because obviously, you know, they've been running away from the net. Okay, all right, don't worry, you will be back to that bigger pond in a minute. Okay. Oh, look at that. They look tired, love. T survive. Okay, Jane is there. See, she's a bit weak. Hopefully they're gonna be alright. Alright then, yeah, gonna go back to your place in a minute. We're just sorting out the water.
Right then, a few hours later, as you can see, we're back to where it all began. The mould's out now. I've set that up elsewhere, which you'll see in a minute. As you can see, we're just going to add about another foot and a bit to the width and about 200mm all round on the height, so be a bit more room for them. And voila, over here on the decking, it's all been set back up. I managed to keep nearly all of the water from the pond because I've got some water butts which have transferred it all into water butts and buckets, so it's about 80% the original pond water, so the biological filtration will still be working okay. Now the fish, they were a little bit stressed when I moved them. They're in this little tub down here, bless them, and in about an hour's time just give it a chance at filter just to keep going a little bit more and clean it a bit more, and then they'll be going back into the home, so hopefully they'll be okay. And then tomorrow I'm hoping to get the framework done. Obviously I've got to buy some more sand for the base for the liner to sit on, so with the weight of the water it doesn't puncture it, and hopefully get the liner in as well and some water in tomorrow. And that's as far as we'll get tomorrow, because I'm waiting for my new filter to arrive, and then when the water's settled I'll put some deck board around the edging so you don't see the flaps of the pond liner, so it'll look a bit neater. And then hopefully by next weekend we'll be up and running again. Bye for now.
So they are in, that we cannot see, but they are there. Hopefully they'll survive the distress that they have undergone today. Long live babies. Right, there is a leech. What's that? A leech, something on the side. Yeah, that might be a poison for them.
Alright, so what is it? It's a snake. Right, it's Saturday morning. Let's start with the rebuild. That's one layer off, one layer to go. So there we are, down to ground zero. Now that bottom level will be staying in because that's a bit lower than the ground on which we're extending it onto. So the extension will start on layer 2. I'm not going all the way up to the fencing because I just want a little bit of a gap just so I can get down, squeezed outside if I need to do any maintenance on it or anything, like getting you know, water pump out to clean it and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna have a little break now and then start with layer number 2. Now this is how I'm fastening the sleepers together, using these big 200mm screws. That should keep them in place nicely. On we go. A few minutes later, and there we go, that's the second level on. There's a tiny little step in that corner, as you can see, where we've extended it, but I filled it with sharp sand, and I'll put some more on when I've got all the levels on. Make sure there's no sharp edges anywhere before I put the liner in. But yeah, coming along nicely. There'll be some a lot better literage in this, I think, without a shadow of a doubt. On we go. So there we are, level number 2. Coming along nicely, isn't it? Guys are going to love this. Get that third level on now, and then get some sharp sand in there. Make sure there's no sharp edges anywhere. Then we'll get us liner in and get some water in. Happy days. Meanwhile over here, that little mould that we had in that other setup, set it up here, and we're happy as Larry. And look at that, level 3. So that's the framework done. Gonna be nearly 3 foot deep, so they're gonna love it in there. Plenty of room for them to grow into. So all I've got to do now is get this sharp sand in bottom, and then get the liner in. Happy days. Sun shining as well. So now all the sharp sand's in. As you can see, there's a little ridge going from deep end to shallow end, and as you can see in the corner, I need it to make a shelf for the for some water plants to go on. And I came up with the idea. I've got 200 litre bags of compost. They're absolutely rock solid, sat one on top of other in there, and then liner will go on top of there, and when hot water's in, it'll compress it down, and there'll be a nice little shelf there for water plants. So pretty much most of the hard work's done now. I'm just going to have a bit of a break, a bit of a siesta, and then put the liner in, and then fill it full of water and let it settle for a few days, because obviously the weight of the water will compress the sand down a little bit. So you don't want to be trimming the edges of the liner off either, because it will sink a little bit more, you know what I mean. So 2 or 3 days it'll be at its true place, and then I can trim the edges and then finish it off with some nice decking board round edges, and then hopefully when my new filter comes in a couple of days, get that up and running and set it going, and then probably 3 or 4 days later get the old coys back into the new playground. Now this bit's not easy. Putting liner in, I will probably be getting my trunks on at some point and getting in there. Got to start putting some water in, and then moving the line around into the corners and stuff, but it's roughly alright. But we're not worried about a few creases and that. But we get some water in and away we go. So there we go. Start filling her up. Right, I've got to go get my trunks on. So on we go. Not sure on the literage, but it must be 2 to 2,500 litres, I would imagine. A few moments later, probably about half full now. Looking good. So there we are, 6 hours later. The new pond is almost ready. I've filled it up with water, I've trimmed the edges, the excess, and now obviously we're just going to let it settle for a few days because it'll compress the sand underneath with the weight of the water. So I don't want to be putting any edging on yet because it'll just end up ripping the PVC liner. So that's all I can do now for a couple of days. But yeah, looking good. Better home for the little fish we've got. We can probably proper crack on now and get big. Right then, so 3 days later, I've let it settle now, so the weight of the water on the sand will have pulled the liner down to the level that it needs to be at. So now I can think about trimming these edges and putting some surrounds on. I've bought some deck board and I'm just going to trim it down now. I've also got a little staple gun which I'll just staple these down, trim it and then put the edging on. And then the next stage after that will be to get some filtration going. Now, according to Royal Mail, my new water pump should be here tomorrow afternoon, so hopefully tomorrow evening we'll have some filtration going and we won't be far off then from getting these little koi's back in the new home. They're still doing alright in the old pond what I've set up on the deck in here. They're happy enough. So yeah, let's crack on with that. So as you can see here, pulled the liner back, put some staples in, and now I'm just going to continue this all the way around and trimming the excess off. Just putting little staples in there. So once I've worked my way all the way around and trimmed it off, we'll then put his edging on. Looking good.